The glass shattered at exactly 6:47 p.m. Kang Jun-woo heard it the moment his private elevator doors opened onto the 42nd floor of his Gangnam penthouse. Not the sound of actual breaking glass, but something worse, the sound of silence where automated systems should have been humming. His motion sensor lights didn't activate, his climate control didn't adjust, his security panel didn't chirp its usual welcome. Someone was in his home. He'd lived in Seoul long enough to know what that meant. Corporate espionage, rival companies who wanted Valiant Tech's semiconductor patents, maybe even remnants of the Busan syndicate he'd helped prosecutors dismantle 3 years ago. His hand moved toward his phone, finger hovering over the emergency contact for his security team. Then he heard it. A child's voice, high-pitched, American accent, completely unbothered. "Dude, I'm telling you, this chocolate is like $30 a bar. He's basically eating money." Another voice, also young, also American. "Carter, that's not how economics works." "You don't know how economics works, Mason. You're 9. So are you." A third voice, quieter, but just as young. "Can you guys stop fighting? He's gonna be home soon, and we need to look professional." Jun-woo stood frozen in his entryway, his 8 million won Italian shoes creating small echoes on the marble floor that suddenly sounded very, very loud. His mind raced through possibilities. Kidnapping attempt? Some elaborate prank? A hallucination brought on by the 90-hour work week he'd just survived? He stepped forward slowly, rounding the corner into his living room, and there they were. 3 boys, maybe 9 or 10 years old, sitting on his 15 million won custom Italian leather sectional like they owned it. The middle one held what was indeed a bar of his imported Swiss chocolate, the kind that cost more than most people's weekly grocery budget. The one on the left had a tablet in his hands, tapping away at something. The one on the right sat with perfect posture, hands folded in his lap, watching the hallway like he'd been waiting. They all had the same face. Triplets, clearly. And something about that face made Jun-woo's chest tighten in a way he couldn't explain. Before you find out what happens next, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button right now, because what these 3 kids are about to reveal will absolutely destroy this man's entire world. And you're going to want to see every single second of how this plays out. Trust me, this story goes places you won't believe.
K Afro Tales. The weak will become strong one day.
The boys turned in perfect unison, like they'd rehearsed it. 3 identical sets of dark eyes locked onto him. 3 identical faces broke into 3 identical smiles. The one in the middle, the chocolate thief, waved. "Hi, Dad, we've been waiting for you." The world tilted sideways. Jun-woo's brain, the same brain that had built a multi-billion won tech empire from nothing, that negotiated deals in 3 languages, that could calculate complex equity structures in his head, completely short-circuited. The phone slipped from his hand and clattered onto the marble. He didn't even notice. He started, then stopped. His mouth had gone completely dry. "I don't have children." "You do now," the chocolate thief said cheerfully, taking another bite. "Surprise!" The one with the tablet didn't look up from his screen. "Technically, you've had children for 9 years, 7 months, and 13 days. You just didn't know about it, which, according to our research, makes you either spectacularly unobservant or the victim of some seriously questionable communication from our mother. We're still determining which." "Probably both," the choir-one added helpfully. Jun-woo took a step backward, his shoulders hitting the wall. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. He'd been working too hard. That was it. He was having some kind of stress-induced episode. Maybe he'd fallen asleep in his office, and this was a very weird, very specific anxiety dream. "You should sit down," the one with perfect posture said, his voice gentle, concerned. "You look like you're going to pass out. Adults do that sometimes when they get shocked. Our teacher did it once when Carter brought a snake to class." "It was a small snake," Carter protested. "It was still a snake, Carter." Mr. Peterson was being dramatic. "Guys," the tablet user finally looked up, his eyes, dark and intense and far too intelligent for a 9-year-old, fixed on Jun-woo with unsettling focus. "Maybe we should let Dad process for a minute before we get into the snake incident." "Dad!"
They kept saying that word, dad, like it was normal, like they had any right to that word. Junwoo's legs decided sitting was an excellent idea, with or without his brain's permission. He sort of collapsed into the nearest chair, which happened to be the $3 million accent chair his interior designer had insisted would tie the room together. Right now, it was the only thing keeping him from sliding straight onto the floor. "Okay," he managed, his voice coming out hoarse. "Okay, who are you? How did you get in here? Where are your parents? I'm calling security." "Where are your sons?" Mason, the tablet one, said simply. "We got in through a combination of social engineering, basic lock manipulation, and the fact that your building security is shockingly inadequate for someone of your net worth. Our parents are our mother, who's currently in Busan having a panic attack because we left her a note about a fictional school trip, and you. And you're not calling security." "I'm not?" "No." Carter grinned. It was the kind of grin that probably got him sent to the principal's office on a regular basis. "Because we already talked to your security team, told them we were your secret sons visiting for the weekend. They totally believed us. Want to know why?" He didn't want to know why. He absolutely, desperately did not want to know why. "Because we look exactly like you," the quiet one finished. "Genetics are really specific like that, especially with identical triplets. We're basically 3 miniature versions of you, which is actually kind of weird when you think about it, but also super convenient for bypassing security systems designed to recognize familial features." Junwoo stared at them, actually looked at them for the first time, past the shock, past the impossibility of the situation, and his heart stopped. Oh God, they were right. The shape of their faces, the set of their eyes, that stubborn jawline he saw in the mirror every morning. Even the way the quiet one sat, with that slight forward lean, shoulders squared. Junwoo's mother had spent his entire childhood telling him to sit exactly like that. "This isn't possible," he whispered. "DNA evidence suggests otherwise," Mason said. He reached down beside the couch and pulled up a folder. An actual physical folder, the kind lawyers used. He opened it with the efficiency of someone who'd done this before, spreading documents across the coffee table that probably cost more than a used car. Birth certificates, 3 of them, identical except for the names: Mason Kang, Carter Kang, Lucas Kang. Date of birth, March 15th, 9 years ago. Mother's name, Sarah Bennett. Sarah. The name hit him like a physical blow. He hadn't heard that name in 10 years. Hadn't let himself think it for at least 7. Sarah Bennett, the American translator he'd met at a business conference in Seoul. The woman who'd made him laugh for the first time in years. The woman who'd disappeared from his life without explanation, leaving only a note that said she was going back to America and he shouldn't try to find her. He tried anyway. Spent 2 years and more money than he wanted to admit, hiring investigators, tracking down leads, following dead ends. She'd vanished like smoke. Eventually, he'd had to accept that she didn't want to be found, that whatever they'd had for those 6 perfect months hadn't meant to her what it meant to him. "Mom's name is Sarah Bennett," Lucas, the quiet one, said softly. "You knew her 10 years ago. You loved her." It wasn't a question.
Junwoo couldn't breathe. The air in his multi-million won penthouse, filtered and purified and temperature-controlled, suddenly felt like it was made of concrete. He had to stop. Start again. "Your mother is Sarah?" "Was that not clear from the birth certificates?" Carter asked. "Because I feel like we were pretty explicit about that part." "Carter," Mason said warningly. "What? I'm just saying the documentation is very thorough. Which brings us to Exhibit B." He pulled out another document. This one looked official, medical, stamped with logos Junwoo recognized from Seoul's most expensive private laboratory. DNA paternity test, non-invasive prenatal testing, actually, because Mom had some samples from when she was pregnant. We found them in her safety deposit box. She doesn't know we took them, by the way, or that we took your toothbrush from your mother's house last month, which, I'll admit, sounds super creepy when I say it out loud, but it was for science. "You broke into my mother's house?" The words came out automatically, which was ridiculous because breaking and entering was somehow the least insane part of this conversation. "We didn't break," Lucas corrected. "Your mother invited us in. We told her we were collecting donations for our school fundraiser. She gave us cookies and let us use the bathroom. Mason distracted her with questions about her garden while Carter got your toothbrush from the guest bathroom. It was very efficient. You're 9 years old and very goal-oriented," Mason added. He pointed to the DNA results. "Probability of paternity, 99.97%. That's as close to certain as genetic testing gets. The 0.03% margin of error accounts for the possibility of an identical twin, which, according to our research, you don't have. So, yeah, we're your sons. Surprise?"
John Woo looked at the papers spread across his coffee table. Official documents, scientific proof. 3 9-year-old boys who apparently had his face, his mannerisms, and a terrifying level of organizational competence. His hands were shaking, actually shaking. He pressed them against his knees to make it stop. "I didn't know," he said finally. "I swear to God, I didn't know." "We believe you," Mason said immediately. "Your face, when you saw us, that was genuine shock. You can't fake that kind of reaction. Also, according to our research into microexpressions and behavioral psychology, your left eye twitches when you lie. It hasn't twitched once since you got home." "You researched microexpressions?" "We researched everything," Carter said. Kang Jun-woo, age 38, CEO of Valiant Tech, net worth approximately $2.3 billion US, according to Forbes Korea, though we think that's probably underestimated because it doesn't account for your real estate holdings or private investments. You donated 500 million won to children's hospitals last year, which is actually kind of ironic given the whole didn't help your own children thing. "Carter," Lucas interrupted gently. "But we're not here about money," Carter continued. "Just to be super clear on that, we don't want your money. Mom would actually kill us if we took your money. Like actually literally murder us. She's very intense about independence." "Then what do you want?" John Woo's voice cracked on the last word. "Why are you here?" The 3 boys looked at each other. Some silent communication passed between them, the kind only siblings could manage. Finally, Mason set down his tablet. "We made a presentation," he said. "Would you like to see it?" "A presentation?"
PowerPoint. 43 slides. We've been working on it for 3 months. Lucas did the graphics. Carter handled the data visualization. I wrote most of the content, but we all contributed to the narrative arc. "You made a PowerPoint presentation about..." Jun-woo gestured helplessly at the impossible situation he'd found himself in. "About why we came to find you," Lucas finished, "and what we're asking for. We thought it would be more professional than just showing up and demanding things. First impressions matter." This was insane. This entire situation was completely insane. But Jun-woo found himself nodding anyway, because what else was he supposed to do? Call the police and report that 3 children had broken into his home to inform him he was their father via PowerPoint presentation? Mason pulled out a small projector from a backpack Jun-woo hadn't even noticed. Within 30 seconds, he had it connected to Jun-woo's TV, which was probably supposed to be complicated, but apparently wasn't when you were a 9-year-old with a mission. The first slide appeared on the 85-inch screen. Professional font, clean design. A title that made Jun-woo's heart skip several beats. Why Kang Jun-woo is Our Father, a data-driven analysis. We'll start with the evidence, because we know you're a businessman, and businessmen like facts. The next 20 minutes were the most surreal of Jun-woo's life, and he'd once negotiated a merger while actively being threatened by industrial saboteurs, so that was saying something.
The boys presented their case with the efficiency of seasoned lawyers. DNA results, hospital records from Sarah's pregnancy, photographs of their mother and Jun-woo together from 10 years ago, pictures he didn't even remember being taken, moments he'd forgotten existed, a timeline of their conception that was both scientifically accurate and deeply uncomfortable to hear described by 9-year-olds. "Moving on to Section 2, Mason announced. "Why we came to find you." The slide changed. 3 bullet points. "Mom cries on your birthday every year. We wanted to know if you're a bad person or just a coward. School has Father's Day events, and we're tired of sitting alone." The room went very, very quiet. Lucas, who'd been mostly silent during the presentation, spoke up. His voice was soft, almost fragile.
Mom tried to hide it, the crying. She'd go into her room and close the door and turn on music. But we knew. We always knew. She'd look at this one photo she kept hidden in her jewelry box, Carter added. His earlier cheerfulness had dimmed. You and her at some restaurant. You're both laughing. We found it when we were 7. That's when we realized our dad wasn't dead like we thought. He was just somewhere else. We spent 2 years trying to understand why you weren't there, why Mom wouldn't talk about you, why she worked 3 jobs and was always tired and never complained, but we could see she was struggling. We thought maybe you were a bad person, maybe you'd hurt her, maybe you knew about us and didn't care. But then we found the letters, Lucas whispered. Junwoo's head snapped up. What letters? The ones you sent her, years ago, looking for her. Lucas pulled out a stack of envelopes from the folder. Junwoo recognized his own handwriting on them, desperate, pleading, letters sent to every address he could find, all of them returned unopened. She kept them all, never opened them, but she kept them.
Mom said once, when she thought we were asleep, that leaving you was the hardest thing she'd ever done, Carter said quietly. She told our grandmother that she did it to protect us, that your world was too dangerous for kids, that she couldn't raise us in Korea as a foreign single mom, that she was scared. We didn't understand it then, Mason added, but we're older now. We've done the research. We understand that sometimes people make really hard choices because they think it's the right thing to do, even when it hurts. The presentation clicked to a new slide. This one was simpler, just 3 lines of text. What we're asking for. Meet us. Actually meet us. Not just look at us like we're ghosts. Listen to our story, the whole thing. 1 hour, minimum. Meet our mother, tomorrow, in person, and actually talk to her. That's it? Junwoo managed. You don't want money, college funds, child support for 9 years of... We want to know if our mom was right, Lucas interrupted. She said you were a good person who would have come if you'd known. She said you would have been a good dad if you'd had the chance. We want to know if that's true, or if you're just a rich guy who doesn't actually care about anything except his company. The words landed like punches. Junwoo felt each one, physical and sharp and completely deserved. How did you even find me? He asked. Your mother disappeared, completely. I looked for years. Reverse image search, Mason said simply. We took that photo of you from Mom's jewelry box, uploaded it to Google, and your company profile came up. Valiant Tech CEO Kang Junwoo. After that, it was pretty easy. Your company is public. Your address is technically confidential, but we found it in a property tax database that wasn't properly encrypted. No offense, but your cybersecurity is kind of terrible for a tech company.
We spent 6 months planning this, Carter added. Saved our allowance for train tickets from Busan, studied Seoul's subway maps, practiced our story for security guards. Today was our window. Mom had a weekend work conference, so she thought we were staying with our grandmother. We left her a note saying we were going on a school trip, bought train tickets with cash, made it to Seoul by 2 p.m., got into your building by 2:37. We've been here for 4 hours. Junwoo checked his watch. It was 7:15. He'd been standing in his own home, having a complete mental breakdown for almost 30 minutes. It felt like 30 seconds and 30 years at the same time. Your mother, he said carefully. Does she know you're here? 3 identical head shakes. She's going to be furious, Lucas said. Probably, Mason agreed. Definitely, Carter corrected. But we had to do this. We had to know. Know what? Lucas looked up at him. His eyes, Junwoo's eyes reflected back at him in a 9-year-old's face, were filled with something that looked like hope and terror in equal measure. Know if you were worth missing. The words broke something in Junwoo's chest, just completely shattered it. He'd built walls around his heart for 10 years, told himself Sarah had made her choice, that some things couldn't be fixed, that he needed to move on. And now 3 children, his children, God help him, his sons, were sitting in his living room asking if he was worth the hole their absence had left in their lives.
He opened his mouth to answer, didn't know what he was going to say, didn't get the chance to figure it out. His phone rang. The sound, jarring in the heavy silence, made all 4 of them jump. Junwoo looked at the screen. Unknown number. International code. You should answer that, Mason said quietly. It's probably our mom. We kind of took her phone before we left, but she has her work phone, and she's probably noticed we're missing by now. You stole your mother's phone? Borrowed, Carter corrected, with intent to return. Totally different legally. Junwoo answered the call, put it on speaker because his hands were shaking too badly to hold it steady. Junwoo? The voice hit him like electricity. Sarah. It was Sarah, 10 years older, rougher with panic, but unmistakably her. Sarah, he breathed. Oh, God. Oh, thank God you still have the same number. Junwoo, my boys are missing. They left me a note about a school trip, but there's no school trip. I called the school, they're not there, and I think... Her voice broke. I think they might have gone to Seoul. I think they might have gone to find you. Have you seen them? Please, if they showed up, please just tell me they're okay. Mom! Mason grabbed the phone. We're fine. We made it. Everything's good. Mason Kang! Sarah's voice went from panicked to furious in half a second. Where are you? What did you... Put me on speaker, right now.
Mason obeyed. Carter and Lucas crowded closer.
Hi, Mom,
They said in unison. There was a long moment of silence. Then, I am going to kill you. All three of you. Do you understand? Actual murder. They will find your body scattered across Seoul.
We're at Dad's house, Carter interrupted cheerfully. His penthouse is really cool, by the way. Like, really cool. He has a TV bigger than our entire living room. Carter, I swear to... Deep breath. The sound of someone trying very, very hard not to scream. Let me talk to Junwoo. The boys handed back the phone. Junwoo took it with hands that had started shaking again. Sarah, he started. Are they safe? Yes. Are they hurt? No. Did they... Another breath. Did they tell you that I'm their father? Yes. They had DNA tests and a PowerPoint presentation. A sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. Of course they did. Of course. Listen to me very carefully, Junwoo. I'm getting on a train right now. I'll be in Seoul in 3 hours. Keep them there. Keep them safe. We'll talk when I get there. And Junwoo, yeah? I'm so sorry for all of it. I should have told you years ago. I should have... Her voice cracked completely. Just keep them safe, please. That's all I'm asking. The line went dead.
Junwoo stared at his phone, looked at 3 9-year-old boys who were watching him with identical expressions of cautious hope, looked at the DNA results spread across his coffee table, looked at his entire life, which had been completely normal 4 hours ago and was now something he didn't even recognize. So, Carter said into the silence, do you want to order pizza? Because we're starving, and you don't seem like the kind of person who has actual food in his house. And despite everything, despite the impossibility, despite the terror, despite the feeling that his entire world had just been turned inside out, Junwoo laughed. Yeah, he said. Yeah, we can order pizza. The boys high-fived each other. Phase 2 complete, Mason whispered. There's a phase 2? Junwoo asked weakly. 3 identical grins. Oh, Lucas said, there's a whole plan. The pizza arrived 45 minutes later. Junwoo had never ordered pizza to his penthouse before. He had a private chef who prepared his meals. He ate at restaurants that required reservations 3 months in advance. He did not order pizza. But apparently, when you suddenly acquired 3 9-year-old sons, you ordered pizza. The delivery guy did a double take when Junwoo answered the door with 3 children visible behind him. Family night? Something like that, Junwoo managed. Cool, that'll be 47,000 won. He paid with a credit card because he hadn't carried cash in years. Tipped 100,000 won because he was having some kind of crisis, and apparently that made him over-tip. The delivery guy's eyes went wide. Wow, thank you, sir. Enjoy your family time. The door closed. Junwoo turned to find 3 boys already attacking the pizza boxes on his dining table. "You ordered pineapple pizza," Carter said, making a face at one of the boxes. "Are you a psychopath? Is our dad a psychopath?" "I like pineapple pizza," Lucas said defensively. "You also like mayonnaise on fries, Lucas. Your taste buds are broken. Mayo on fries is a totally normal thing in Belgium. We don't live in Belgium." "Guys," Mason interrupted. He looked at Junwoo, who was still standing by the door like a visitor in his own home. "Dad looks like he's going to pass out again. Maybe we should let him sit down?" Dad. They kept calling him that, like it was already decided. Like 9 years of absence could be erased by DNA tests and determination. Junwoo sat, accepted a slice of pizza he didn't remember asking for, watched 3 boys who had his face argue about pizza toppings with the kind of comfortable familiarity that came from a lifetime of shared meals and stupid arguments. His children. These were his children. The thought kept hitting him in waves, each one bigger than the last. Somewhere in Busan, Sarah was probably having a panic attack on a train. Somewhere in this penthouse, evidence of 3 secret sons was spread across expensive furniture. And somewhere in Junwoo's chest, something he'd thought was dead started to hurt in a way that felt almost like hope. "Can I ask you something?" he said suddenly. 3 pairs of eyes turned to him. "Why now?" He set down his untouched pizza. "You've known about me for 2 years. You could have done this anytime. Why today?"
The boys exchanged looks again, that silent communication thing. "Because we're tired," Lucas said finally. His voice was small. 9 years old and already exhausted in a way children shouldn't be. "We're tired of pretending we don't care. Every kid at school talks about their dad, what he does, where he works, what they did together last weekend. We had nothing, just a photo and questions. Every Father's Day, our teacher makes us do these projects," Carter added. His earlier cheerfulness had evaporated. "Make a card, draw a picture, write about what makes your dad special. We had to sit there while everyone else made cards for dads who existed, and we just drew pictures of nothing, pretended it didn't matter." "Mom tried to make it better," Mason said. "She'd take us to baseball games on Father's Day, buy us ice cream, pretend it was just another Sunday. But we knew, she knew we knew, and it was this thing we all just didn't talk about. We decided last year that we were done not talking about it, done pretending, done being the kids without a dad. So we made a plan, saved money, did research, and today, when Mom had her conference and we had our window, we took it. We needed to know," Carter said simply, "needed to know if you were worth missing, if Mom was right about you being a good person who just didn't know, or if you were just some rich guy who wouldn't have cared anyway." Junwoo felt like he was drowning. "And what's the verdict?" "Still deciding," Mason said honestly. "You haven't thrown us out, which is good. You haven't called the police, also good. You ordered pizza with pineapple, which is questionable but forgivable. You looked like someone punched you when we told you about Mom crying, which suggests you actually cared about her."
"I did," Junwoo said before he could stop himself. "I do. I spent 2 years looking for her, hired investigators, followed every lead. She vanished like she never existed. She went to America," Lucas said, "back to her parents' house in California. Had us there, raised us there until we were 5, then moved to Busan because she wanted us to know Korea, know our heritage, even if we didn't know our dad. Why didn't she tell me?" The question burst out of him. "Why not send a letter, an email? Why just disappear?" "You'd have to ask her," Mason said, "but based on context clues and some conversations we weren't supposed to overhear, we think she was scared. Your mother, our grandmother, I guess, made it very clear that Sarah wasn't welcome in your world, that she was just some American girl trying to trap you, that you'd choose family legacy over her. She was pregnant with triplets at 25 in a country where she barely spoke the language," Carter added. "Your mother told her to go back to America, offered her money to leave quietly. Mom said no to the money, but yes to leaving. Thought she was protecting us from a world where we wouldn't be wanted. Every word was another knife." Junwoo thought about his mother, elegant and cold and obsessed with family legacy.
Thought about Sarah, brilliant and kind, and probably terrified. Thought about how different everything could have been if someone had just told him the truth. "My mother knew?" he asked quietly. "We don't think so," Mason said. "The timeline doesn't work. She offered Mom money to leave before Mom knew she was pregnant. Mom found out 2 weeks after she got back to California. By then, she'd already decided staying away was safer." "Safer," Junwoo repeated. The word tasted bitter. "You were building Valiant Tech," Lucas said. "Mom said you were working 80-hour weeks, fighting your family about the company direction, dealing with corporate sabotage. She didn't want to add 3 babies to that chaos. Didn't want us growing up in the middle of a war zone."
"So she ran, took you with her, decided for both of us that I didn't deserve to know my own children existed." The anger surprised him. He'd thought he was past anger when it came to Sarah, thought he'd processed it all years ago. Apparently not. "She made a choice," Mason said carefully. "Maybe not the right choice, but a choice she thought would keep us safe. And now you're here, 9 years later, breaking into my penthouse, confronting me with DNA tests and PowerPoint presentations." Junwoo laughed, but it sounded broken even to his own ears. "What did you think would happen? That I'd just accept this? That we'd be a happy family? We thought you deserved to know," Carter said quietly. All his earlier energy had drained away. "And we deserve to know you. Everything else we can figure out later." The apartment fell silent, except for the sound of soul traffic 42 floors below. Junwoo looked at these 3 boys, his sons, God, his sons, and saw 9 years of missed moments staring back at him. First steps, first words, first days of school, birthdays, holidays, every single milestone gone, stolen by choices made before these boys even existed. His phone buzzed. Text from his mother. "Working late again? You'll die at your desk one day." He almost laughed, almost texted back, "Actually, I just discovered I have 3 secret sons. How was your day?" Instead, he turned the phone face down. "Tell me about yourselves. I don't know anything about you. Favorite foods, hobbies, I don't even know which one of you is which."
The boys lit up. It was like watching 3 light bulbs turn on simultaneously. "I'm Mason," Mason said, raising his hand like he was in class. "I like computers and coding, and I'm teaching myself Python. I want to work in AI development. Favorite food is ramen, any kind. Mom says I'd eat it every day if she let me." Carter announced, "I like sports, especially soccer, and I'm really good at it, even though Lucas says I'm not. Favorite food is Korean fried chicken, the really spicy kind. I also like pranks, but Mom says I need to work on understanding consequences." "I understand consequences," Carter protested. "I just think they're worth it." Lucas smiled slightly. "I'm Lucas. I like reading and art. I paint sometimes. Favorite food is Mom's kimchi stew, which she makes every Sunday. I'm also the one who kept a journal of our plan to find you, so if you want detailed documentation of how 3 9-year-olds orchestrated corporate espionage, I have that." "You kept a journal?" Junwoo asked. "Well, yeah, this is kind of a significant life event. Seemed worth documenting." "He's going to write a book about it someday. It's going to be titled, 'How We Kidnapped Our Dad,' and it'll be a bestseller." "We didn't kidnap him," Mason pointed out. "We're his children. You can't kidnap your own parent. Tell that to the police when they show up." "The police aren't going to—" Mason stopped, looked at Junwoo. "The police aren't going to show up, right?" "No," Junwoo said. He surprised himself with the certainty. "No, the police are not going to show up." "Good," Lucas said, "because that would make Phase 3 really complicated." "What's Phase 3? "Getting you and Mom to actually talk to each other. Like really talk. Not angry talk, not sad talk, actual communication." "You think your mom wants to talk to me?" "Mom hasn't dated anyone in 10 years, not once. Our grandmother keeps trying to set her up with nice guys from church, and Mom always says no. We asked her why once, and she said she already met the person she was supposed to be with, and it didn't work out. Then she got really sad and made us chocolate chip cookies, which is her emotional coping mechanism." Junwoo's chest tightened. "She said that? She also still has all your letters," Lucas added softly. "The ones you sent trying to find her. They're in a box in her closet. She doesn't know we found them, but we did. And we read them. And Dad? His eyes met Junwoo's. You really loved her. Past tense. The boys said it in past tense, like that love was something finished, complete, over. Except Junwoo had spent 10 years telling himself it was over and never quite believed it. Had dated other women and compared them all to Sarah. Had built an empire and felt empty because there was no one he wanted to share it with who wasn't the woman who'd vanished from his life. I did, he said. I did love her. Do you still? The question came from Carter, who was watching him with unsettling intensity for a 9-year-old. I don't know, Junwoo said honestly. I don't know if you can still love someone after 10 years of nothing. Mom's train gets here in 2 hours, Mason said, checking his phone. When did he get that back? I guess we'll find out. 2 hours. Junwoo had 2 hours before Sarah walked back into his life. 2 hours to figure out what the hell he was supposed to say to the woman who'd left him, who'd hidden his children, who'd apparently spent a decade crying on his birthday while he built buildings and bought companies and tried to forget her. What am I supposed to do? He asked, not really asking the boys, just asking the universe in general. Well, Mason said practically, first you should probably call your mother. Tell her about us before Mom gets here and it becomes a whole thing. My mother is going to lose her mind. Probably, agreed Carter cheerfully, but she gave us really good cookies when we visited, so she can't be that bad.
Junwoo pulled out his phone, stared at his mother's contact information, tried to figure out how to start the conversation. Hi, Mom. Remember Sarah, the American girl you paid to leave? Turns out she was pregnant with triplets, and I just found out I've been a father for 9 years. He called her. She answered on the first ring. Junwoo? Finally! I was beginning to think you died at your desk. Mom, I need to tell you something. Something in his voice must have alarmed her because her tone shifted immediately. What's wrong? Are you hurt? No, I'm fine. I'm home, and I'm not alone. Silence. Then, are you finally dating someone? Because it's about time. You're not getting any younger. I have sons, he interrupted. 3 of them. They're 9 years old. They're sitting in my living room right now. Their mother is Sarah Bennett. More silence. Longer this time. So long that Junwoo checked to make sure the call hadn't dropped. Mom? I'm coming over, she said finally. Her voice had gone very, very quiet. I'm leaving right now. Don't move. Don't do anything. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Mom, you don't have to. 20 minutes. She hung up. Junwoo looked at the boys. My mother is coming over. We know, we heard, your speakerphone volume is really high. She's going to want to meet you. Good. We have questions about the whole paying our mom to leave thing. She didn't know Sarah was pregnant. Still a pretty messed up thing to do, paying someone to leave because they're not rich enough for your family. He was right. Of course he was right. Junwoo's mother had been trying to protect the family legacy, but she'd also been cruel. Had seen Sarah as a threat instead of a person. Had probably said things that made a scared 25-year-old woman decide running was safer than staying. I'm sorry, Junwoo said, for what my mother did. For not being there, for... He gestured helplessly at everything. All of it. You didn't know, Mason said. Hard to apologize for something you didn't know was happening, but I should have known. Should have fought harder to find her. Should have... Stop, Lucas interrupted gently. You're spiraling. We can see you spiraling. Our therapist taught us about spiraling. You have a therapist? Mom got us one last year when we started asking too many questions about you. Dr. Morrison. She's really nice. Specializes in kids with complicated family situations, which apparently we have. 20 minutes until Junwoo's mother arrived, 2 hours until Sarah arrived, and somewhere in that window, Junwoo was going to have to figure out how to be a father to 3 children who'd grown up without him, while also confronting the woman he'd never stopped loving and the mother who'd probably caused this whole mess in the first place. If you're still watching this, and I really hope you are because this is about to get so much more intense, make sure you've hit that like button, because what happens when Junwoo's mother walks through that door, when she comes face to face with the grandchildren she never knew existed, is going to change everything, and you're not going to want to miss a single second of it. His mother arrived in 18 minutes.
which meant she'd either broken several traffic laws or teleported. Given the expression on her face when Jun-woo opened the door, either seemed possible. Kang Min-ji was 63 years old, 5 feet 2 inches tall, and had the presence of someone much larger and much more dangerous. She'd built her late husband's failing electronics company into an empire through sheer force of will. She'd raised Jun-woo to be a CEO before he could drive. She did not surprise easily.
She looked surprised now. "Where are they?" she said, instead of hello. Jun-woo stepped aside. His mother walked into the penthouse like she owned it, which technically she kind of did, having paid for half of it as a housewarming gift he hadn't wanted but couldn't refuse. The boys had arranged themselves on the couch, standing now in a line like they were facing a firing squad. 3 9-year-olds trying to look braver than they felt. Min-ji stopped. Actually stopped moving, which Jun-woo had seen maybe 3 times in his entire life. She stared at the boys. They stared back. "Oh my God," she whispered. "You look exactly like him." "Genetics," Mason said. "DNA is very specific." "We know you," Carter added. "You gave us cookies last month. Chocolate chip. They were really good." Minji's eyes went wide. "The boys doing the school fundraiser? That was... You said your names were..." "We lied," Lucas said simply. "Sorry about that. But we needed your DNA, well, Jun-woo's DNA, but his toothbrush from your guest bathroom worked, and we couldn't exactly ask permission." "You stole my son's toothbrush?" "Borrowed," Carter corrected. "We put it back." Minji looked at Jun-woo. "Is this real?" "DNA casts say so. They have birth certificates, and they..." He gestured at the boys. "Just look at them, Mom. They're mine."
She looked, really looked, and Jun-woo saw the moment she accepted it, the moment her entire worldview shifted to accommodate 3 grandchildren she'd had cookies with while they committed corporate espionage. "Sarah Bennett," she said finally. "Their mother is Sarah Bennett. Yes. The American translator, She stopped, went pale. Oh God, I told her to leave. I told her she wasn't suitable for this family. She turned to the boys. "I gave your mother money to go away. Did she tell you that?" "We know. We found the bank records. 50 million won wired to her American account. She didn't take it. Sent it back a week later. We found the transfer receipt." Min-ji looked like someone had hit her. She sent it back? Mom doesn't take money from people who insult her. She's very proud. Also, kind of stubborn. You'd probably get along great if you could get past the whole "you tried to pay her to leave your son" thing. "I didn't know she was pregnant," Min-ji said desperately, looking at Jun-woo. "You have to believe me. If I'd known..." "Would it have mattered?" Jun-woo asked. Genuinely asked because he didn't know. "Would you have accepted her? Accepted them?" His mother opened her mouth, closed it, looked at 3 boys who were watching her with identical expressions of cautious judgment. "I don't know," she admitted. 10 years ago, I was different, harder, more concerned with legacy than..." She gestured helplessly, "than people. But now, looking at them, my grandchildren..." Her voice cracked. "I would have burned the world down to keep them." "We're taking notes," Mason said, pulling out his phone. "For our therapist. She's going to have a field day with this." "You have a therapist?" "Mom got us one. Dr. Morrison. She specializes in complicated family dynamics, which..." She gestured at the general chaos of the situation. "Yeah."
Min-ji walked closer to the boys, slowly, like approaching wild animals. Can I hug you?" The boys looked at each other. Another one of those silent conversations. "Okay," Lucas said finally, "but gently, we don't really know you yet." She hugged them, all 3 at once, which required some creative positioning. Jun-woo watched his mother, who hadn't cried at her own husband's funeral, who'd fired 100 employees without blinking, who'd built an empire on ruthlessness, absolutely fall apart. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed into their hair. "I'm so sorry. I could have." "It's okay," Lucas said, patting her back awkwardly. "You didn't know. Nobody knew except Mom, and us eventually. We're here now," Carter added. "That's what matters, right?" Min-ji pulled back, looked at them with tears streaming down her face. "You're so beautiful, so smart. Sarah raised you well."
She did, Mason agreed. She worked 3 jobs, put herself through school, learned Korean so she could teach us, never complained, never made us feel like we were a burden. She's kind of amazing. I need to apologize to her. When she gets here, I need to... She'll be here in an hour and a half, Junwoo said, checking his watch. Her train arrives at 10:15. Then we have an hour and a half to prepare, Minji said. Her CEO voice was back. Crisis mode engaged. The boys need food, real food, not pizza. They need... Do they have clothes? Where are they sleeping? They can't sleep here. There's no... We're sleeping here, Carter interrupted. We came all this way. We're not leaving until we talk to Mom with Dad present. That's the whole point of Phase 3, Lucas added.
Minji looked at Junwoo. Phase 3? Don't ask, he said tiredly. Just accept that your grandsons have a strategic plan and we're all players in it. I want to know everything, Minji declared. Favorite foods, hobbies, school grades, everything. What followed was the most surreal family dinner Junwoo had ever experienced. His mother ordered food from her favorite Korean restaurant, the kind that didn't deliver but made exceptions for Kang Min-ji. The boys ate bulgogi and asked questions about their father's childhood, while Min-ji showed them photos on her phone of Junwoo as a child. You were really serious, Lucas observed, looking at a photo of 7-year-old Junwoo at a piano recital. Like, really serious. I was preparing him to lead the family business, Min-ji said. No time for play when you're building an empire. That's kind of sad, Carter said bluntly. Kids should get to be kids. You're absolutely right, Minji said. She looked at Junwoo. I was too hard on you, made you grow up too fast. I won't make that mistake with them. You're not making mistakes with us at all, Mason pointed out. We're not your responsibility. We're Mom's kids, and Dad's apparently, but that's still being determined. You're my grandchildren, Minji said firmly. That makes you my responsibility whether you like it or not. And speaking of responsibility, she turned to Junwoo. What's your plan for when Sarah arrives? I don't have a plan. You need a plan. You can't just... Mom, Junwoo interrupted. I found out I had sons 4 hours ago. I haven't processed that yet. I definitely haven't processed seeing Sarah again. There is no plan. There's just survival. Fair enough, she conceded, but you need to apologize. For what? I didn't know. For our family. For me. For making her feel like she had to run. Minji's voice went soft. For not being someone she felt she could trust with the truth.
The words hit hard. Junwoo thought about Sarah at 25, pregnant and scared, facing down his mother's money and judgment. Thought about how alone she must have felt. How desperate. I don't know what to say to her, he admitted. Start with, I'm sorry, Lucas suggested. Then, thank you for raising our children even though I wasn't there. Then maybe, can we figure out how to co-parent without making this worse? You've thought about this. We've had 2 years to think about this, Mason said. We've planned a lot of conversations that may or may not happen. At 10:07, Junwoo's phone buzzed. Text from the same unknown number Sarah had called from earlier. I'm 8 minutes away. Are they still there? He texted back, yes, they're safe. We're all here. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, all? My mother is here too, the boys called her. Of course they did, because why wouldn't they? Another pause. I'm scared, Junwoo. His fingers hovered over the keyboard. 10 years of silence, 10 years of wondering, and now she was 8 minutes away and scared. Me too, he typed, but we'll figure it out. We'd better, for them. For them, he agreed. At 10:15, the elevator chimed. Junwoo's building required keycard access to reach the residential floors. Somehow, he wasn't surprised when the doors opened and Sarah Bennett stepped out. She looked exactly the same and completely different. Same long dark hair, though she'd cut it shorter. Same eyes that could see through bullshit. Same way of standing like she was ready to fight a run at any moment. But she was older now. Tired, worn down by 9 years of single parenthood in 3 jobs and keeping secrets. She saw the boys first. They'd lined up again like they had when Min-ji arrived. 3 soldiers reporting for duty. Mom, they said in unison.
Sarah made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob or both, crossed a space between them in seconds, dropped to her knees, grabbed all three boys and held on like she was drowning and they were life rafts. "Don't ever do that again," she said into their hair. "Don't ever. I thought I'd lost you. I thought—" "We're okay," Lucas promised. "We're safe. We told you we would be." "You're 9 years old. You can't just run off to Seoul." "Technically, we took a train. Very safe. Public transportation is very reliable in Korea." "Carter!" "Sorry, Mom." She pulled back, looked at each boy individually, checked them for injuries or trauma or signs that the last 6 hours had broken them, found nothing but 3 kids who looked incredibly pleased with themselves. "You're grounded," she said, "for life. Do you understand? Forever." "Worth it," Mason said. Then Sarah stood, turned, and looked at Junwoo for the first time in 10 years. The world stopped. Junwoo had prepared himself for this moment, had spent the last hour running through scenarios, planned what he'd say, how he'd react, what his face would do when he saw her. None of it helped, because Sarah was standing in his penthouse, looking at him with eyes that held 10 years of regret and love and pain, and his carefully constructed walls just completely shattered. "Hi," he managed. "Hi," she whispered back. They stared at each other, 10 years of silence pressing down like physical weight. "We should talk," she said finally, but first she turned to Min-ji, who'd been standing quietly in the corner. "Mrs. Kang, it's been a long time." Min-ji stepped forward. "Sarah, I owe you an apology." "You owe me several," Sarah said evenly, "but we can start with one." "I was wrong about you, about us, about everything." Min-ji's voice shook. "I thought I was protecting my family's legacy, but I was just scared. Scared of change. Scared of someone taking my son away from the path I'd planned for him. And I hurt you. Badly. I'm sorry."
Sarah studied her. "Do you mean that?" "I do. More than you know. Your grandchildren are amazing," Sarah said. "Brilliant and kind and brave. I raised them well, without your money, without your approval, without anything from the Kang family except genetic material and a picture I kept hidden in a box." "I know. Then you did an extraordinary job." Minji gestured at the boys. "They're perfect." "They're not perfect. They're children. They break things and fight and make terrible decisions, like running away to Seoul to ambush their father." Sarah's voice cracked slightly. "But they're mine, and nobody gets to make them feel like they're not enough. Not you, not your family, not anyone." "I wouldn't dream of it," Minji said quietly. "I just want to know them, if you'll let me." Sarah looked at the boys. They nodded. Some silent communication. "We'll figure it out," Sarah said finally. "But slowly, with boundaries. And if you hurt them—" "I won't," Minju interrupted. "I promise you, I won't." "Good." Sarah turned back to Junwoo. "Can we talk? Alone?" He nodded, led her to his study, leaving the boys with Minji. Closed the door, turned to face the woman who'd haunted him for a decade. "I'm sorry," they said simultaneously. Then stopped, stared at each other. "You first," Sarah said. Junwoo took a breath. "I'm sorry I wasn't someone you could trust with the truth. I'm sorry my family made you feel like you had to run. I'm sorry you spent 9 years raising our children alone. I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for everything."
Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry I left. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I'm sorry I made a choice for both of us when I should have given you the chance to choose. Why didn't you?" The question came out rawer than he intended. "Why not tell me? I would have left everything, the company, my family, all of it, for you, for them." "I know," she whispered. "That's why I didn't tell you. You loved Valiant Tech, your father's legacy. I couldn't ask you to choose. I would have chosen you. And you would have resented me eventually, resented them. I couldn't—" She wiped at her eyes. "I couldn't watch you grow to hate the children we made together. I could never hate them. You say that now, but back then, 28 years old, building a company from nothing, fighting your family every day? Add 3 babies to that chaos?" She shook her head. "I thought I was protecting all of us." "You were protecting yourself," Junwoo said. "Not cruel, just honest. You were scared, and you ran, and you took 9 years of my children's lives, and you just erased me. I know." The tears were falling now. "I know it was selfish. It was wrong. But I was 25 and pregnant with triplets, and your mother gave me money to leave, and I couldn't see another way. You could have trusted me." "I didn't trust myself," Sarah's voice rose. "I didn't trust myself not to mess everything up, not to fail them, not to—" She broke, just completely broke. "I was so scared, Junwoo. Every single day. I'm still scared." He didn't think, just moved, crossed the study and pulled her into his arms and held her while she sobbed into his chest the way she used to when things got too hard and the world got too big. "I'm sorry," she kept saying. "I'm so sorry for all of it." "I know," he murmured into her hair. "I know."
They stood there for a long time, 10 years of absence trying to fit into one embrace. It didn't work, couldn't work, but it was a start. Finally, Sarah pulled back. "We need to talk about them, about what happens now." "I want to be part of their lives," Junwoo said immediately. "However that works, whatever you need from me, I want to be their father." "It's not that simple." "I know. They live in Busan. You live here. You run a company. I'll make it work." "Junwoo, I missed 9 years, Sarah. I'm not missing another day. Tell me what you need. Rules, boundaries, whatever it takes, but I'm not walking away from them." She studied his face. "You mean that? More than I've meant anything. They're gonna have questions about us, about why you weren't there, about whether we're—" She stopped. "Whether we're what?" "Together," she finished quietly. "They're 9. They'll ask if their parents love each other, if we're gonna be a family." Junwoo's heart stopped. "What do we tell them?" "I don't know." Sarah met his eyes. "Do we love each other after 10 years?" The question hung between them. Massive. Impossible. "I don't know if I ever stopped," Junwoo admitted. "I tried, dated other people. None of them were you." "Same," Sarah whispered. "I kept thinking I'd move on, that time would make it easier, but it never did. So what does that mean? It means we're both idiots who hurt each other and broke each other, and still somehow," she laughed wetly, "still somehow can't let go."
The boys have a plan, Junwoo said. Phase 3, apparently, getting us to talk to each other, actually talk. I think Phase 4 might be getting us back together. Of course they do. They're terrifying. They're amazing. They're both, Sarah wiped her eyes. We need rules. For this. For us. Okay? Slow. We go slow. Get to know each other again. Figure out co-parenting before we figure out anything else. Agreed. Therapy. For all of us. You, me, the boys. Together and separate. I'll find someone. Boundaries. With your mother. With your family. The boys come first. Always. And if this doesn't work, if we can't make this work, her voice shook. We still have to be parents. We still have to figure out how to raise them together. We will, Junwoo promised. Whatever happens with us, we'll figure it out for them. Sarah nodded, took a breath. Okay, we can do this. We can do this, he agreed. They walked back to the living room together, found the boys and Minji engaged in what appeared to be a very serious discussion about optimal Korean fried chicken restaurants. There are exactly 3 acceptable places in Seoul, Carter was saying. If you go anywhere else, you're basically a criminal. What about Kyochon? Minji asked. All 3 boys made faces. Acceptable but overrated, Mason declared. Pelicana is clearly superior. You're all wrong, Lucas said. BHC is the objectively correct choice. Junwoo cleared his throat. 4 heads turned. Mom! The boys chorused. Did you guys talk? Did you fight? Are you getting back together? We talked, Sarah said firmly, and we're figuring things out. slowly. How slowly? Carter asked suspiciously. Very slowly, Junwoo said, because your mother and I have a lot to work through. But you're gonna try? Lucas's voice was small, hopeful. Junwoo looked at Sarah. She looked back, and something passed between them, something that might have been understanding, or might have been hope, or might have been the beginning of forgiveness. Yeah, Sarah said softly, we're going to try.
The boys erupted in celebration. Minji started crying again, and Junwo stood in his penthouse, which had been empty 6 hours ago and was now full of family he didn't know he had, and felt something shift. Something that had been broken for 10 years started to heal. It was late, after midnight. The boys had finally crashed, sprawled across Junwo's guest bedroom in a tangle of limbs. Sarah sat on the edge of the bed, watching them sleep. "They look like you when they sleep," she said quietly. Junwo stood in the doorway. Same stubborn expression, like they're determined even in their dreams. "They have your eyes. They have your everything else. Good thing they got your brains then." She smiled slightly. "They're really smart. Too smart sometimes. I can't keep anything from them." "How long have they been planning this?" 2 years, since they found your picture. I should have told them sooner, should have been honest, but I was scared." "Of what?" "That you wouldn't want them, that you'd reject them, that I'd have to watch them be hurt by someone who should love them unconditionally." She looked up at him. "I was protecting them from you. How messed up is that?" "Not that messed up. You didn't know me anymore, didn't know who I'd become." "Who did you become?" Junwo thought about it, about the man he'd built himself into over 10 years. "Successful, lonely, really good at pretending I was fine when I wasn't." "Same," Sarah said, "except substitute successful with exhausted, and you've got my last decade." 3 jobs? 2 now. I'm a freelance translator full-time. Pays better, more flexible hours. Lets me be there for them. "Sarah, don't." She stood up. "Don't try to fix it with your bank account. I've done fine without Kang family resources for 9 years. I can keep doing fine." "I wasn't going to offer money. I was going to say you're an amazing mother, and I'm so grateful they had you, even if I wish I'd been there too."
She softened. "You'll get your chance. They'll drive you crazy. They're relentless." "Where do they get that from?" "Definitely you. I'm very reasonable." "You planned a trip to Korea with 3 babies because you wanted them to know their heritage, while working 3 jobs. You're the opposite of reasonable." "Fair point." They stood in comfortable silence, watching 3 boys sleep. Their boys. "What happens tomorrow?" Junwoo asked. "Tomorrow, I take them back to Busan. They're grounded for approximately forever. And you," she looked at him, "you have my number now. You call, you visit. We figure this out step by step." "Every other weekend?" "To start, if that works, if they want it, if we can manage it." "I'll make it work." "You have a company to run." "I have sons," Junwoo interrupted. "The company survived before me. It'll survive my absence on weekends." Sarah smiled, really smiled. "Okay then, every other weekend. We'll see how it goes." "And us? What about us?" "Sarah?" "Slow," she reminded him. "We agreed. Slow." "I know, but—" He moved closer, carefully, like approaching something fragile. "Can I ask you something?" "Depends what it is." "Did you ever stop what?" "Loving me." The question hung between them. Sarah's breath caught. "That's not fair," she whispered. "I know, but I need to know." She looked at him, really looked. "No, I never stopped. I tried, I really tried, but no." "Good," Junwoo said, "because I never stopped either, and I don't think I can start now. We can't just— I know, slow, I heard you. But Sarah," he reached out, touched her face gently, "I'm going to try. I'm going to show up and be there and prove that I'm someone you can trust, that I'm someone they can trust. And if we end up, if we get another chance—" "If," she agreed, "that's a very big if. I'm good with big."
She leaned into his touch, just slightly. One step at a time, one step at a time. They stood there, not quite touching, not quite separate. 2 people who'd loved each other and lost each other, and somehow, impossibly, found their way back. One of the boys, Carter probably, mumbled something in his sleep about fried chicken. Sarah laughed softly. They're going to be so much trouble. Good, Junwo said. I could use some trouble. 3 months passed like a dream. Junwo kept his promise. Every other weekend, he drove to Busan, 3 hours each way, and he made the trip like his life depended on it. Because in a way, it did. The first weekend was awkward. The boys gave him a tour of their small apartment, proudly showing him their room, their books, their school projects. Sarah hovered nervously, unsure how to act around him. They all tried too hard. The second weekend was better. Junwo took them to a soccer game. Carter screamed himself hoarse, cheering. Mason calculated player statistics in real time. Lucas painted the experience in watercolors later, capturing the energy in ways that made Junwo's chest ache. The third weekend, something shifted. The boys stopped performing, stopped trying to be perfect, started just being kids. They fought over TV channels, complained about homework, asked him to help with math problems he barely remembered how to solve. "You're a CEO and you can't do fourth-grade math?" Carter asked incredulously. "I hire people to do math," Junwo defended. "That's the saddest thing I've ever heard."
By month 2, the boys had claimed a section of his Seoul penthouse. Their room now had bunk beds, a reading corner Lucas had designed, sports equipment Carter insisted on, and computer setup that made Mason's eyes light up every visit. "This is better than our room at home," Carter announced. "Don't let your mother hear you say that," Junwoo warned. But Sarah knew. She'd see the photos Junwoo sent. The boys sprawled across expensive furniture, eating breakfast Junwoo attempted to make, sleeping in on Sunday mornings while he worked quietly in his study. She'd also started staying for coffee when she'd drop them off, then dinner, then full weekends, sleeping in the second guest room, pretending they were just co-parenting efficiently. "We're fooling no one," Minji said during one of her frequent visits. She'd embraced grandmotherhood with the intensity she brought to everything else, showed up unannounced with homemade food, taught the boys Korean traditions, spoiled them absolutely rotten. "We're going slow," Sarah protested. "You're having dinner together every weekend. You laugh at his jokes. He looks at you like you hung the moon. That's not slow. That's inevitable with paperwork pending." But they kept pretending, kept maintaining boundaries, kept sleeping in separate rooms and keeping their distance even when the pull between them was magnetic. Until the accident. It happened on a Tuesday. Sarah was driving home from a client meeting in Seoul. Some idiot ran a red light. Her car ended up wrapped around a light pole. Junwoo got the call from a hospital he didn't recognize. "We found your number in her emergency contacts. Sarah Bennett, car accident. She's stable, but..." He didn't hear the rest, was already moving, called his driver, made the 3-hour trip in 2 hours, called his mother to get the boys from school.
Sarah was awake when he got there, bruised, bandaged, but alive. "Hey," she said weakly. "You're an idiot," he said, then kissed her. Just grabbed her face and kissed her like he'd wanted to for 3 months and forgot to care about slow or careful or any of it. She kissed back, crying and laughing and holding on to him. "Took you long enough," she whispered when they finally broke apart. "I was going slow. Screw slow. I almost died, and all I could think was that I never told you. I never said..." "I know." He pressed his forehead to hers. "I know. Me too." The boys burst into the hospital room, Minji trailing behind them, looking apologetic. "Mom!" They piled onto her bed carefully. "Are you okay? Are you hurt? The doctor said you were fine, but we needed to see." "I'm fine," Sarah assured them. "Just some bruises. I'm okay." "You scared us," Lucas said, his voice shaking. "I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry." They sat there, all 5 of them crammed onto a hospital bed meant for one, and Junwoo realized this was it. This was his family. Messy and complicated and built from broken pieces, but his. "Dad kissed Mom," Carter announced. "We saw." "Finally, Phase 4 complete," Mason said. "Phase 4?" Sarah asked. "Getting you two together. Took way longer than we planned, but we're flexible." "You've been planning this?" "We've been planning everything," Mason said. "Did you think we just ran away to Seoul on a whim? We had a 12-phase strategic plan. Phase 5 is getting you two to actually date. Phase 6 is..." "I don't want to know," Sarah interrupted, but she was smiling.
actually smiling. That night, after the boys fell asleep in various uncomfortable hospital chairs, after Minji had gone home promising to come back in the morning, Junwoo and Sarah sat in the quiet. "So," she said, "we're doing this? If you want to." "I do." "But Junwoo," she grabbed his hand, "I'm scared. What if we screw this up? What if we hurt them again?" "We won't." "You can't promise that." "I can promise I'll try. Every day. I'll show up and be there and choose you, choose them, choose us. That's all I can give." "That's enough," Sarah whispered. "That's more than enough."
1 year later, Junwoo proposed. The boys had orchestrated the entire thing, hid the ring in a Christmas ornament, made Sarah open it while they all watched. "Is this?" Sarah stared at the ring. "Did you?" "The boys insist I ask," Junwoo said. He was on one knee in his mother's living room, surrounded by family, exactly where he was supposed to be. And for once, I agree with them. "Sarah Bennett, will you marry me?" "Yes!" the boys screamed before Sarah could answer. "I think I'm supposed to be the one who says yes," Sarah said, laughing and crying. "Well," Carter demanded, "are you going to say it or what?" "Yes," Sarah said. "Obviously, yes." The boys erupted. Minji started crying, and Junwoo kissed his fiancée while their sons celebrated around them. They got married 3 months later. Small ceremony, just family. The boys wore matching suits and gave the most embarrassing speeches about how they'd orchestrated their parents' entire relationship. "We're basically relationship counselors," Carter announced. "You're 9, someone pointed out. "Almost 10 and very wise." 2 years after that, Sarah told Junwoo she was pregnant. They'd been trying, wanted to give the boys a sibling, wanted to have the experience of pregnancy together this time. "It's a girl," Sarah said, showing him the ultrasound. "The boys are going to lose their minds." They did. Absolutely lost their minds. Fought over baby names, argued about nursery colors, became the most protective, almost big brothers in existence. "Nobody messes with our sister," Lucas declared. "Nobody even looks at our sister weird," Carter added. "We have a list of acceptable future friends," Mason said. "Very short list."
Their daughter was born on a Tuesday in April. They named her Hannah. She had Junwoo's eyes and Sarah's smile, and 3 older brothers who thought she was the most amazing thing ever created. Junwoo stood in the hospital room, holding his daughter, watching his wife sleep and his sons argue quietly about who got to hold the baby next, and thought about the day 3 boys had broken into his penthouse. The day they'd called him Dad. The day his entire life had changed. "Thank you," he whispered to them. "For what?" Mason asked. "For finding me, for giving me a chance, for being brave enough to show up when I didn't know you existed." "You're welcome," Carter said simply. "But also, it was kind of selfish. We wanted a dad. And now you